Hey, Ryan here, and welcome to my video blog. For those of you who don't know me, I help contractors build predictable sales models, and every week I put together a blog early in the week, and I share it on Facebook and my YouTube and my LinkedIn. And so this week, what's been on my mind is something that's been stirring for quite a while. It's a growth hack that I want to call changing from things happening to you to things happening for you. So the reason why this is so important is because this perspective, this one renewal of the way you think, this one groove that we can get your brain waves to get out of this groove of to you and start to get into for you is going to change everything. And so why is that so important? Well, if you live life where circumstances always happen to you, oh, he cut me off, or oh, she dumped me, or oh, somebody didn't give me the contract, or I didn't get paid enough for my commission, or oh, the economy is causing me to do this, right? You have such this victim mentality, or such a victim, mindset, and that attracts predators, that attracts you to be on the verge of extinction. And it's one of the worst things you can do. In fact, I dug out from my kid's closet and I found a dodo bird. And this dodo bird is a great representation of what happens when you let life come to you and you are constantly in this victim mentality, because soon enough, you're going to be extinct, right? And so I've made some great changes in this area, and it all started when I really looked at my entire life and its grand scope. And man, what are all the areas that I'm becoming a victim and I've still remained a victim? So I went back, and a few weeks ago, I was able to go back to California. I was there for some business, and I actually left an extra day because I've always wanted to go back to my childhood home. And this is the home where my brother and I, we lived with my mom and dad before they were divorced, and we actually had a family unit. As stressful as it was, and as intense as it was for the reasons I'll share in a moment, we still remember being a family, and it was great. But unfortunately, due to just stress and, circumstances of life, my mom and dad ended up falling into some really bad addiction, into some really hardcore drugs. And my father chose to, while he was on the road, find prostitutes and different things because of the pain and the challenges in his own life. He had no other way to medicate except that, and that was his choice. So over the years, I found that as I saw, I did not want that, right? I did not want to be a part of that, and I wanted to change. I really began driving forward in life and going into professional baseball career and overcoming a lot of obstacles and, launching a business for several years in the software industry and roofing and other contracting trades. And now I have my own business and my own family that I'm very proud of, because I was like, I want to get away from that potential damaging lifestyle because I felt the power in a negative way in my life. However, when I looked at that and I was remaining resentful and I still had this negative anger toward my mom, or especially my dad, I was still a victim, and I let their circumstance and I let their choices begin defining my emotional state of being. So I started to say, hey, how can I get healthier and reframe this whole thing where now in the deepest parts of my life, things are now happening for me instead of to me. Because why is that so important? Well, if you can go into the deepest parts of your life and answer those questions and reframe from to you to for you, it starts to become your actual nature, your human nature, your normal nature, to look at all of your circumstances in this place where now you're an inheritor, where things are happening for you, the good, the bad, the ugly, versus to you. So when you're actually going through life and you've done that work, that deep work, when somebody gives you a no as a salesperson, or in a business you make a massive mistake and something really poor happens, like you're really cash strapped because you chose a certain wrong, type of contract that was poor, or a salesperson gets a no from somebody, and instead of them saying, oh, they rejected me, or they didn't buy from me, or they were this or they were that, instead, people who have this growth hack say, hey, what can I learn from that? How did that occur for me in my favor? Because the mistakes we made, Maybe we didn't ask enough great questions. Maybe we didn't get to the actual decision maker. Maybe we really didn't create real value. One of my favorite guys growing up on TV in sports, I love sports. I watch SportsCenter 4 times a day when you're growing up, and they kept it on repeat. I would just continue watching it. I was so glued to it. And one of my favorite commentators was Lou Holtz, the football coach. And he said that growing up, he had the silver spoon. And what I love was it was this play on words, because he had a really tough childhood, right? And so he overcame a lot of adversity, and that is actually what shaped him into the man he is today. Because most of us guys, I'm a millennial. If you're watching this, you may or may not be a millennial, but most of us have divorced parents, or there's some form of addiction involved in some degree. And most of us can look at that and say, oh my gosh, this happened to me. This is what I was born into. And, it's just a poor thought process. It's a poor pattern of thinking that creates really poor outcomes. So, but instead, if you look at all those and say, how can I let that be fuel, and then be thankful for what my parents did. In fact, my parents, now I have so much appreciation. As much as my dad had some real issues with his drug usage and female choices and terrible relationships, and he was always emotionally a wreck and things like that. Man, that guy worked hard, and he put a roof over my head and made sure I was fed. I don't care if it was Taco Bell or Wendy's, it was food. And we got to watch movies. He made sure I always had the best baseball bat. He always got me in football and baseball. And he got me an opportunity to enjoy something, and I went and played professional baseball. And I'm thankful for that. And he was always there when I needed it, and he always gave me love. And so for a while, though, I was really mad at him. I thought he was a loser because of these things. And instead of me looking at all of those things, I started to look at all the positives, because what you focus on, you empower. If you're a salesperson, a sales leader, let's focus on what's happening for us, and let's really see between the lines what's really going on, because life's a great teacher. And if we choose to see things with the right eyes, we're going to be making quantum leaps over people and grow really fast. If you have one person who is continuing to lick their wounds, the other person says, okay, I skid my knees. What do I do next time? What do I not do next time? And they have that attitude. They bounce back. And so by the time they bounce back, they learn they've already bounced back again. And because they said, hey, this occurred for me in some way. How does that look? And so that, my friends, is when you start to look like an apex predator. So I love to talk about apex predators. I have several favorites, and I happen to see the Tyrannosaurus Rex in my kid's closet. And although they're extinct, kind of a silly notion there. So it was a dodo bird. This one was dominant. And so when you start to have the mindset of what's happening for me, you become the apex predator, because you bounce back while the prey are continuing to lick their wounds. And that doesn't have to be you. So I hope this was helpful. Again, what happened for you, not to you. Go back into your life, ask those questions, and reframe all those deep places that you're currently living in and living from. Start to reframe it. Be an inheritor instead of a victim, and you're going to see quantum leaps occur from here on out, and you're going to be a different human being. You're going to be succeeding on levels you never had before because of this hack. So I do this every week. Go ahead and subscribe now on my YouTube channel, and like, share, comment. And if you are interested in having me take a look at your systems, processes, learn a little bit more about your business as a contractor or whatever construction trade you're in, I help develop sales teams into having predictable sales models so you can be number one in your market. That's what I do. So if you're interested in a strategy session, go ahead and schedule it by clicking on the link below. So thank you for tuning in, and talk to you soon.